What's going on, family? Y'all already know who it is. Kasim, aka Showtime. Let me ask you this. Because we all make choices, you know, and some of our choices can cost us relationships. Some of our choices can cost us opportunities and even blessings, our blessings. And I want to ask you guys, how do you rise from that? How do you rise back from that? Do you give up? Because y'all know I don't do that. We don't do that here at BlackPowerRise. So I don't want you to ever give up off of a choice that you made. I want you to bounce back. And that's what I'm going to talk about here today. Because you see, life will test you. The devil is always working. Satan's always at work. At the same time, as I just said, life will test you. People will even test you to see how far you're willing to go, to see how long you're going to stay. Life gets in the way. I say that all the time. But again, how are you going to bounce back? Because here's the truth, people. You can lose everything, and I do mean everything, and still bounce back. I say that because I've lived it. On top of that, as I just said, it's people going through worse than you. For you watching this now. I'm talking to those watching this now and feel like life is over. No, you can always bounce back. Just look at Jacob. Or even, before I even go about to Jacob, let's look at Job. The man who had lost everything and still bounced back. Satan went to God and God showed him, go ahead, put him to the test. Jacob still had his faith in God. How strong is your faith? This is what I mean about that spiritual connection, family. This is what I mean about faith, about always having hope, knowing that God ain't going nowhere. How are you going to bounce back? So today, right now, again, how are you guys going to bounce back? Just think about that. Matter of fact, even put in the comments, bounce back, or I'm bouncing back. The reason why I say that, let's look at Jacob, being that I mentioned him. For those that don't know, for those that say that it was Job who wrestled with God, no. That's not the case at all. And those who were saying it was Job that wrestled with the angel, that's not the case whatsoever. It was Jacob, people. And the reason why I brought Jacob up, because, you know, sometimes greed can get in the way. And the reason why I say that, sometimes people can even be manipulated. But Jacob was a guy who wanted his father's blessings so bad. He wanted Isaac's blessings so bad. On top of that, he wanted to be that favorite. That he manipulated his brother Esau into saying, I'm going to be the first one. Because Esau was so hungry and he knew it. He said that, say that I am the firstborn. Esau was so hungry because he felt like he could die because he was out in the field all day. So to Esau, he just wanted to live. And he did that. Years later, when Isaac was so blind, Jacob went to him because he had sent out Esau. And what happened was Esau went hunting because that's who he was. And Isaac loved that about him. But Jacob, he was more of like a homebody. He was like a mama's boy. And that's why Rebecca loved him more. And that's another thing. For those that have more than 1 or 2 kids in a household, treat them all equally, people. Because I'm sure there are brothers and sisters that feel like, oh, mommy does this more for him, or daddy does this more for her. Treat them kids equally. Even when they're adults. Yeah, they're adults. But treat them equally. So let me get back to it. So what I was saying now is Jacob tricked his father. And that's because his mother, Rebecca, told him to do that. This is what I mean about Satan is always at work. Rebecca told her son, Jacob, after he said, I don't want to be cursed. She said, no, let that curse from God come upon me. So he still went to his father, and his father gave him the blessings. But see, God knew that this would happen because he planned it that way. When Rebecca was still pregnant, her stomach was hurting so much, and it's like they was fighting and struggling, and God told her that 2 nations are in your stomach. 2 nations will be struggling for power. So the reason why I brought them up is because you see Jacob, he wanted God's blessings so bad, and his father to love him more than he did his brother, but so bad. This is where I mean Satan and greed comes in at, people. This is why I just said in the title, how will you bounce back? Because their story, to me, isn't just about betrayal. To me, it's about how they bounced back from that. Because Esau, he wound up telling, and Rebecca overheard it, but because he didn't get his father's blessing, rage came into him. And he wound up telling his father, I'm not just going to live, I'm going to kill him. What do I look like serving my younger brother? That's supposed to be my blessing that he took from me. And then, next thing you know, Rebecca, like I said, overheard it. And after that, she told Jacob to flee because your brother's going to kill you. Now, God is all about love, everyone. We all know that. But Satan loves this type of stuff. He loves this conflict because they all took their eyes off of God. That's just me saying that. But at the same time, you can go read it for yourself. All 4 of them took their eyes off of God. The reason why I say that, because if you read in Genesis, not one of them prayed to God about that situation. Isaac didn't. Although he was blind, Jacob didn't. He didn't even give an offering and ask for forgiveness. That wasn't on his mind. He just wanted God's blessing and his father's blessing so badly. Esau didn't, because greed got in the way. And next thing you know, he had that revenge, as I just said, in him. Then you have Rebecca, their mother. She didn't. She had manipulation in her mind, saying her son Jacob deserved this blessing more than more than Esau. So as I said, let's get to it now. You see, Jacob, he wasn't perfect whatsoever. And if you don't understand or believe what I'm saying to you, look at the whole chapter in Genesis 27. Yeah, that's the first book of the Bible. The whole chapter of Genesis 27, then go on to 28. You'll understand what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying now, how do you bounce back from that? Has something ever happened to you where you felt so enraged, or you just wanted something so bad and it didn't go your way? Because I've said it before, it's not on our time. And time is something we can't get back. You know? I can remember when I was going for corrections, and NYPD at the time. At the same time, I had made plans because I had did everything but pass the sight. And my cousin David, who's a retired CO, I remember him saying to me, yo, that's not for you. I'm like, why not? I'm physical fit. I done did everything I was supposed to get into corrections. He said, look, Kasim, if an inmate spit in your face, you're going to be ready to kill them. And he was up in my face saying that. And I looked at him, dude, who you talking to? And you see how I'm in your face now? You're going to be ready to kill him. You was ready to kill me, and I was just teaching you to drive. And I said, that's because you yelling at me like I'm one of them inmates. So instead of looking at the blessing that God had provided, I had got enraged, y'all. But I wound up bouncing back from that. At the same time, it was a lesson learned. Shout out to David, who's like a father, because I've learned so much about family through him. My cousin John, you got Uncle Ham, but that's not what we're talking about now. I'll get into that another time, family. So right now, what I'm asking you guys, how are you going to bounce back? I'm showing you how I bounced back because I was making plans at that time. I was like, oh, yes, I can get my grandmother her house. I can get my classmates, not classmates, but my cast into the Beacon Theater. We can have this stage play, this big, huge stage play. But you've heard me all the time say you got to start small. And that's what I did. Because God blessed me. I had to get 2 jobs to have that stage play. But we wound up having it. And that was my ultimate goal because God knew where my heart was at. He knew what I really wanted. He knew why I was going for that correction job. So what I'm saying, everyone, is if you feel deceived, if you feel like somebody's done you wrong, if you feel like you feel betrayed, you've got to have that courage. Or something didn't go your way, you've got to have that courage to bounce back. So Jacob, he had deceived his father. There's no going around that. And at the same time, he lost something. Which was, he had to flee for his life. So I say that to say this, everyone. How are you going to bounce back? I just gave you an example of how I bounced back when things didn't go my way. On top of that, you have to have that strength and courage. At the same time, that willpower to know what it is you really want. And it definitely, I want you all to know, keep it between you and God. Nobody needs to know. Because half the time, people going through their own stuff. But if it's your close friends and family, if you want to let them know, by all means. But what I'm saying is, you got to believe in you. You got to be the one to have that courage and bounce back. You've got to want to bounce back. So back to Jacob now. As I said, he lost everything. He had to leave. At the same time, left his mother, left his brother, because he knew his brother was going to kill him because he was warned by his mother. Left his father. On top of that, he lost his family, y'all. Now, have you ever lost something? Something didn't go your way, as I just said. You've got to have that willpower to bounce back. And definitely not lose faith, family. So, some of you might have made that decision and you end up alone because sometimes when you're working on something or when you're setting a goal and you want that goal so badly to achieve it, you separate yourself from others. At the same time, people like Jacob, he felt so guilty. That's why he listened to his mother. But remember what I said, it was her manipulation that started this in the first place. So I want to ask you guys, you don't think God would have blessed Jacob also? On top of that, now I want to get into you. The reason why I say that, I want to know. So put in the comments what you guys would have done in this situation. At the same time, those that have done you wrong, they're all out there, everyone. At the same time, how did you handle that situation? Because as you heard me talk about Jacob, and if you read your Bible, you'll see he ended up alone. Not alone like that, but when he first fled, it was just him. Let me say this clearly, everyone. I want all of you to hear me clearly. Failure does not define who you are. Failure is not the end of your life. This is why I say and left it in the title again. So again, failure does not define who you are. You've got to have that willpower of bouncing back, coming back strong and strong, especially when it's just you and you just so focused and tuned in. As people would say in the modern era, I'm locked in. That's another one. Put in the comments, locked in, everyone. On top of that, understand this, people. Jacob's manipulation of what he did to his brother and getting his father's blessings when it was supposed to be Esau's became the definition to his future. The reason why I say that, because, you know, God tests us at the same time. He wants to bless you. And times, let's say, in Jacob's situation, his future, God had let him face those consequences. God let him go on. He knew, again, I said this back when Rebecca was pregnant, that God told her, you have two nations that's going to war against each other. And God let him go on. It was to develop him, to prepare him. Jacob ended up working for his uncle. Again, this was another thing. God basically said, you're going to face the consequences now of stealing your brother's blessings. So everything he tricked his brother into, now God made him earn what he had received. That's why I'm saying this and showing you an example of how you can bounce back from any failure, everyone. And this is what God does, people. He tests you. He prepares you for your bounce back story. He puts you there, and sometimes you can feel like, I will never get there. But again, you cannot lose hope. You cannot lose that faith. And at the same time, you always heard me talk about this. God's hand is always out. So you can pray to him any time of the day, family. And again, this is what we do at BlackPowerRise. You might feel stuck at work, living in a place you don't like, at the same time working at a place you don't like, but at the same time, it could be your season. You never know. Only he knows. At the same time, keep that hope. Keep that faith, family. Because it's him who gets you by the day. With the strength, you always hear people talk about, God give me strength. That's what you got to do at times. And when you're being put to that test, it's the workout of your faith. It's the strength for your hope, people. This is why, again, you may hear people say, God, give me strength. Help me get through this day. He wants to know, how well are you going to trust him? So, again, I even have the novel coming out, people. Mother Love Says Prayer Changes Things. So many other novels coming out soon. For 2025 or 26, I'm doing a lot right now. But at the same time, I'm going to get right back to it, y'all. So I have to say this. If any of you are struggling and feel like you're stuck, remember I said, failure does not define you whatsoever.
Hi, guys.
Now look who came to join me, everyone. So, as I was saying, let me get back to Jacob. Then it's time to help you with your homework, girl. Yeah. So, as I was saying, family, because here at BlackPowerRise, I love to inspire you guys. I love to motivate you all. So, back to Jacob. I remember reading it, and years later, Jacob was ready to meet his brother Esau, and he was terrified because he never ever forgot what he did to Esau.
Wow.
And he was terrified. So next thing you know, it was in a dream, and he was wrestling with an angel. This is what I mean about that guilt. For them people that have done you wrong, that's them who gonna be feeling guilty. So you've got to bounce back, because Esau went on with his life because his father still gave him a blessing. It just wasn't the one that he wanted.
So, like, when I was in school, I said, like, I'm beautiful. I'm literally beautiful.
So now Jacob's comeback was his blessing. Oh, thank you, boo. Because instead of him being the receiver, now God had blessed him again.
Because God is always going to keep on blessing you and blessing you and blessing.
So when Jacob woke up, people, the reason why I say that, and I named this title and asked you guys, how are you going to bounce back? Because years later, Jacob remembered what he did to his brother Esau. And at the same time, God put him to the test when he was working for his uncle. And he went from being a deceiver into a man that worships God so much. And this is something why I named this, and I asked you guys here in this video, I've said it several times, how are you going to bounce back?
Because let's say somebody said, like, you're not that pretty, and they say you're really stinky. You can just say, I'm not stinky, and I also am gorgeous.
There you go, girl. This is what I'm saying, family. It's your boy Kasim here at BlackPowerRise. So, as I said, years later, instead of Jacob and Esau wrestling and fighting for power, Jacob was still terrified. But Esau went to him, hugging him so tight because he had not seen him in so long. On top of that, Jacob was shocked of Esau. And at the same time, it was amazing. Beautiful story, y'all. So, as I said, you can look at Genesis 27 and 28. Because Jacob's story is a perfect example of how to bounce back. Esau's story is a perfect example of how to forgive. Which I know those watching, some of you all, have a very hard time forgiving. And don't get me wrong, I'm also just like that. Why? Because we were all born with sin. So don't let things just pass you by. You can forgive, that's what I'm saying. But you can never forget, family. That moment with the two brothers, Jacob and Esau, is a perfect example. You can run away, but eventually you're gonna have to face the consequences. And that's what Jacob did. He became a better man. Esau became a more forgiving man. So what I'm saying is Satan did not win. As I was saying, Satan did not win whatsoever, people. Esau had forgiveness in his heart for his brother Jacob. Jacob learned to forgive himself. On top of that, realized the consequences of his actions years later. At the same time, that was Jacob's comeback. That was Esau's comeback. That rage that he had in him was no longer there. They both learned to trust God. That's something we all may struggle with, but you got to keep working at it, everyone. It's just like you working out every single day. It's just like you reading every single day. It's just like you practicing anything. I don't care if it's with your kids. I don't care if it's a sport that you play. I don't care if it's anything you're doing. The more you practice, the better you get. The more you pray, the more your faith is going to become stronger. The more you believe in him, the more you show him what you really want. It's going to happen. You just have to be strong-minded, at the same time have that will in you, family. And if it's a failure, you've got to be able to bounce back. You see, there's something I want you all to really understand this. Your comeback, and I do mean your real comeback, starts when you stop running from your problems. When you stop running from those that have done you wrong and just go on and know that God is with you. You can't lose, people. This is why you hear me talk about having that strong faith, having that strong will. So the reason, another thing I want to say is, the reason you hear me talk about Jacob and Esau, because they're a perfect example, of us bouncing back from failure. What is your failure? At the same time, please hit that like and subscribe button here at BlackPowerRise. It helps the channel a lot. At the same time, leave comments, y'all. And once again, I want us all to keep rising. This your boy Kasim here at BlackPowerRise. You see, family, you can be broken and still become blessed. You can fall flat on your face and still become blessed. At the same time, you can fail at something and bounce back and still be blessed. Every single day we get up is a blessing from God. Every single day we're able to move on our own 2 feet. Get up, pull ourselves up, help others, help other people, even helping a stranger, even helping the homeless. That is a blessing. That's God blessing that other one person. Yes, you have Thanksgiving coming up for those that celebrate it. But at the same time, what I'm saying is you have to realize God is with you, people.
So, guys, when it was my 8th birthday, I really helped a homeless guy, and because my grandpa gave me $8, and then I had $7 left. So, yeah, y'all always have to be kind to others. Y'all don't know what they're going through. Y'all don't know, what happened to them. Just always be kind. It's not really that hard. I'm not understanding the haters here.
You're hearing this from an 8-year-old, family. On top of that, it's just in her. Just like it's in me. So, what I'm saying is, your failure isn't your story, people. Your story starts when you come back, as you heard me say here in this video. You've got to have that willpower. Yes, I've said that again. But why I'm saying it? Because it's the truth. So, again, everyone, this your boy Kasim here at BlackPowerRise. Your setback is not your sentence. Your setback is not the end of your story, people. Your bounce back is your story. I don't care if it was a relationship. I don't care if it was a lost job. I don't care if it was somebody really close to you that did you wrong. Somebody you put your trust in so much. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, now that I'm saying this and doing this video, I have books like Hood Lover, where a woman trusted her fiance so much. After breaking up with him, she had a comeback. We all have a comeback, people. And I even put the link in the description to my novels, especially Hood Lover, because soon I'm doing a Kickstarter for a TV series for that. So, yeah, it's going to happen. Thank you, boo. This your boy Kasim. Love you, too. It's your boy Kasim here at BlackPowerRise, y'all. So, every struggle, you know, every setback is time for a comeback, y'all. Don't ever let your gut chain you to your past. Remember, I've always said this also. Time is something we can't get back, people. Because when God restores and blesses us, he doesn't just bless us, he blesses us even more. That's something I don't think people realize. The reason why I say that, a perfect example, I can go back to my stage plays. I didn't just have one. I had a total of 6 stage plays, y'all. God didn't just bless me with one. He blessed me with 6 stage plays. And now I'm having more stage plays coming up. On top of that, you've got to be able to show him. And as I always said again, don't ever take your eyes off of him. Everyone, this is something I remind you guys constantly that watch BlackPowerRise here. So if life hits you guys, just remember stories like I told you and people like I told you about today. Jacob and Esau. And remember, you can have that bounce back that you always wanted. Don't stay down, people. You can have that bounce back. You can have that comeback that you always wanted. And remember, if you have to do it in silence, so if you're ever struggling, people, just remember about people like Jacob and Esau. You always have that comeback. Jacob had a comeback. Esau had a comeback. We all have a comeback, everyone. As long as we're able to breathe, we have a comeback. Every day we wake up is a comeback. Every day we wake up, it's a chance to be better and better and better. Because, in my opinion, if you're not learning something every day, it's a wasted day. So, every time we have a chance to rise, people. This your boy Kasim here at BlackPowerRise. And I'm out.
Bye, guys.